Some say there are as many threats to the Imperium, as many types of Xenos, as there are stars in the sky. Some are like huge bugs. Some are skeletal living metal monstrosities. Some the lithe and nimble degenerate Eldar. Some are psychers of astonishing strength that can dominate entire worlds and systems. I don't know much about all of those. Each chapter, each sector, has its own Aquila to bear, I guess. Here, in our region, we have the Greenskins. Like an ocean they come, and each time we beat them down, we beat them back. But there are always more of them. They breed like mushrooms in a dank cave, it seems. I respect the Greenskin. As soon as you underestimate a foe, you lose to it. So I always keep a healthy respect for them. Of all the Xenos slime, I have had the experience of bringing the Emperor's peace. The Greenskin is so very different. They seem to have no fear of death. They seem to love fighting more than anything I have ever seen. Even the Templars. They're also weird. Anything else? A headshot does the business, and after shaving 0.002 off my bolter drill time and being one of the best shots in the company, no mean feat I can tell you, I know my business. But with the Greenskins, it's best to shoot them in the body. The bolter hits and blows the thing into an eruption of green mess. Headshots? You may not believe me, but they sometimes get back up after them. Not immediately, but I have seen it. A Greenskin can have a head stitched back onto a body by their weird apothecaries and then get back up. So I hit the body and make certain. We know how to deal with orcs though. The mad dash forward, the unending waves of them. They can never resist a good scrap. So I stand on a hill surrounded by my squad. We make ourselves plain, and they come as intended. And there goes that mad bellow of theirs. War, I think they are saying. Like it's dinner time at a starving hive. So strange. The word is given by our sergeant, Mordian Makarov, and I take aim and start to fire along with my squad. The bolter drill was worth it. It always is. We are sons of dawn after all. We hit our target first time, every time. They fall in their droves. Anything else would turn tail and run from the punishment we are meting out. But they love it. So strange. They surround us. We are a tiny island of power armor amongst a tide of green. They crash into our lines, but we are ready. We may not be the Black Templars, who will actually just charge them back, but we know our trade. My chainsword is in hand and I go to work. My sergeant strikes out all around him with his power fist, and the red of our namesake, so powerful in his hands that orcs fly into the air like he is juggling them. We stand our ground. We are the bait, you see. In less than a minute or two, our brothers will reveal themselves from their hidden positions, and will then unleash the Emperor's own wrath into this tide of scum. All I have to do is stand my ground. But I am an Astartes, a Space Marine. I am a son of Dawn, and I am a Crimson Fist. Even if there were 1,000,000 of them charging us, I will stand my ground. Welcome, gentle listener. I am Baldermort, and I wish to introduce you to the forces and factions of the Warhammer 40k universe. Today we are to discuss one of the most popular and one of the most loved of all of the factions of the grim darkness of the future, the Crimson Fists. When the great Warhammer 40k universe began, it did so with one book, one tome, Rogue Trader. On its cover was one picture, the legend that began it all. And on that cover were the original poster boys of the Space Marines, of the entire setting, the Crimson Fists. So the world first saw the Space Marines, and it was the Crimson Fists that they saw. They were the template that captured the imagination and fired the soul. for this one picture evoked such a powerful image and such a potent understanding of the setting in one stroke. It was, and remains, the most important image of Warhammer. They say that a picture speaks 1,000 words, and in this one image they are not wrong, for it perfectly depicts the entire setting, the entire flavour and core of the grim darkness of the future. A small contingent of humans, space marines, beset on all sides and making heroic stand. Toys for boys is what many will say, but it perfectly reflects the romantic core of the game and setting. A few stand against many, and they show no fear. For the lore element of this entry, I will lean on existing wisdom, as I feel we should be succinct today, for this is only an introduction. But as time progresses, we will take a deeper dive into the history and tragedy, the sacrifice and glory of this, the original Space Marine faction, the Crimson Fists. To quote, the Crimson Fists. Of the Imperial Fist's many successor chapters, none better embody the defiant and unconquerable valour of the old Legion than the Crimson Fists. Ever in the forefront of the endless war against the barbaric orcs, they have been tested in battle like few others, forever rising to new glories as they strive to fulfill their duty. The Crimson Fists were founded under the command of Alexis Pollux during the division of the Old Legion, while the more hidebound of Dawn's warriors remained as die-hard Imperial Fists, and the Legion's idealistic zealots joined Sigismund to become Black Templars. Pollux gathered to him the more recently initiated and level-headed of his brethren. While it was many centuries before some successor chapters, including those of other reluctant legions, fully embraced the Codex Astartes in thought and deed, the Crimson Fists readily recognized the Codex for the boon it was, and set its doctrines to righteous purpose. Though the Crimson Fists have battled the myriad enemies of mankind wherever they arise, they have gained particular expertise against the Orcs, honing stratagems and doctrines against the Greenskin menace on 10,000 worlds. This specialization traces back to the War of the Beast, where the chapter played a pivotal role in bringing the conflict to an end. Though they did not suffer as greatly as the Imperial Fists during that desperate campaign, the wound went deep enough that the Crimson Fist ever after cultivated a burning desire to purge the Orc threat from the stars. In the era Indomitus, the Crimson Fists in some ways much changed from the chapter they once were. Notably, their ranks have been swelled by an unprecedented influx of Primaris Space Marines, a gift from Reboot Gulliman himself, for the Crimson Fists who had spent the latter years of Millennium 41 as a devastated brotherhood shrunken by the disaster on Rin's world. This was nothing short of transformative. No longer forced into guerrilla actions, they have reached out their bloodied hands across the stars once more. Yet, in other ways, the chapter is little changed from that of 10,000 years prior. The traditions of old endure as proudly as in any other chapter, and the teachings of Dawn and Pollux drive the Crimson Fist to greater heights, with the Codex Astartes ruling all. Thus to the Crimson Fist, who ever represented the most forward-facing warriors of the Old Legion, now serve as Dawn's vanguard in a new and turbulent epoch. This is no reckless pursuit. Their experiences on Rin's world yet hang heavy on the chapter's veterans, who cleave to lessons learned through years of privation and uncertainty. While the Crimson Fists retain Dawn's legacy of heroism, they march to war ever mindful of victory's cost. After all, every battle brother slain in the dust of a forgotten world is one who cannot fight for mankind's salvation in the next inevitable campaign. Though the Crimson Fists are near identical to the Imperial Fists organizationally, one key difference lies in their first company, which always numbers 128 battle brothers in commemoration of the bold survivors of the Crusade of Liberation. Traditionally, this company has also gone without a captain, instead answering directly to the Chapter Master. But Chapter Master Pedro Cantor has broken with this practice, believing that to split his time between Chapter and First Company would be to do both a disservice. In matters of training and progression through the Chapter, the Crimson Fists more closely mirrored the Ultramarines than the Imperial Fists, with recruits passing through the 9th and 8th Companies in turn, before at last entering a place within the reserve battle line companies. While the Crimson Fists appreciate the value of overwhelming firepower, long years of triumph and defeat have taught them that the disciplined and flexible approach of the battle line is more effective against the savage and anarchic Orcs. End quote. Such a brief recounting of such an important faction, the first Space Marines the world ever saw. Over the last 3 decades they have fallen from the limelight, so to put it, but to the veteran of the game and setting, there will always be a special place, a warm, fuzzy, nostalgic place to which they will go. And there will always be that original image, that first ever evocative and spellbinding vision of a universe of misery and darkness. A place where humanity is beset on all sides, and its only hope is to stand and weather the storm of opposition and fight for its right to survive. A setting to which I sincerely hope you too will become enamored, for there, in that place of cherished memory, we'll be proudly standing and saluting them. With bolter and power fist raised in defiant challenge, there will always be the first ever Marines, the Crimson Fists. I have been Baldermort, your faithful servant. I hope you enjoyed my introduction to the Crimson Fists. If so, then please do consider liking and subscribing. Should you be a regular gentle listener and see the worth in what we are doing, then do please also consider sharing the video, or even supporting us on Patreon. It would be a great boon, and allow us to continue the work. P.S. Look at that! Look at it! Look at it! I sincerely hope Mr. Kirill Kanev of Putty and Paint doesn't mind, but I literally could not help myself. Look at it. A feast for the eye. Look at it. Okay, I am done. Now, no matter what you do today, please do try to make some time for fun. No, I'm back again. Look at that. So good. I wish I could paint like that. Toodaloo.